Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, a.k.a. PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative Podcast. This is the podcast where we have digital discussions in the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. This is where myself, PD Beats, interviews fantastic guests from the worlds of social media, sports, pop culture. I'm really, really happy to be with my guest this evening. It's a bit early for him because he's in LA, but it's evening over here. But we're with, he's an actor. You've seen him in many things. You've seen him on Glee as Coach Tanaka. He's been Attila in the Night Museum movie series. We're with Patrick Gallagher. Patrick, welcome to Popternative.
How you doing, guys?
Finally, we made this happen. It feels like it's a year in the making.
I know, and I'll admit it was all my fault.
Well, we got it done.
As person on the planet.
We got it done. So, the one thing I wanted to ask and ask a lot of my guests is, you know, you're an actor. You're basically, I like to call you guys like storytellers. You tell stories. You become these characters. They come to life and you tell the story. What makes you interested and drives you towards that idea of being a storyteller and playing these characters?
Well, you know, I just enjoy it. I just love it. And to be quite honest with you, it's something I'm never late for. It doesn't ever feel like work for me, and I never want it to work. I come from a family of, I think I'm the only person in my entire family, both sides, 3 generations, without a university degree, but that just didn't interest me. And I was relatively good at it. And so I enjoy it. I mean, it's what we do when we're kids. I get to play, remember we used to play like Storm the Castle when we're 5 years old? I get paid to do that, you know, so you can't really get much better than that.
Absolutely. You are there's a lot of actors and actresses out there that they do both. They do film and television. Some of them do more film, some of them do more television. You've kind of done both. You've kind of done an equal amount. You've been in a lot of film. You've done a lot of television. Is there one that like interests you more than the other?
Well, I mean, when it comes right down to nitty gritty, when you're shooting, it's the same thing. I think things have changed a lot now. When I was a kid, long time ago, there were film actors and TV actors, but that's all changed now where everybody does everything. I mean, you'll see big A-list stars doing commercials, which was taboo as little as 10, 12 years ago. So the industry's changed where we'll do whatever we can. I'm doing a video game right now called Ghost of Tsushima. I'll do voiceovers. I'll do theater. It's gotten to the point in the industry now where we just do everything we can, which is kind of nice because, the days of TV actors and film actors are gone. And I think it's just all acting really when it comes down to it. I do like the size of films. You get more time to do things sometimes. But, I'll do anything that pays me and gives me free food.
Absolutely. And I know you're a fan. You're a Canadian. Yeah.
No Trump commercial.
Fair enough. And do we get your best performance if they offer you poutine?
Oh, absolutely. If they give me poutine, you're gonna get gold from me. Poutine is the greatest thing ever. Right next to the Nanaimo bars. Do
you kind of see yourself as a spokesperson for those amazing Canadian snacks and treats while you're down there?
Absolutely. I drive 35 miles at least once every couple of months to go to the Redondo Beach Cafe in Los Angeles, where it's real Montreal poutine with the real Montreal poutine sauce and cheese curds. There are 2 guys from Montreal that opened it, and it's literally 35 miles away from here, and we'll go down there to get it. It's a great place to go watch the Grey Cup and watch Canadian sporting events. I miss our chocolate bars.
I remember too. My friends, they went to Thailand and they had a guy from Montreal who opened up like a noodle shop there, and he had a little bit of poutine on the side, and they would watch like the Montreal Canadiens game. He'd have it streaming in the background. I always found that so cool to hear.
Well, because you get bastardized poutine down here now. I mean, it can't be mozzarella cheese and it's not beef gravy. That's just French fries with cheese and gravy on it.
Absolutely.
Poutine is a very particular sauce.
Cheese curds.
Cheese curds.
Have you ever brought anyone? Do you ever go with anyone you work with? Like, have you introduced people that you've worked with, maybe on like Glee or Night Museum, to poutine?
Well, that's harder to do because it's harder to find. But I have introduced people to Nanaimo bars, and I got to admit, Nanaimo bars and poutine are neck and neck for me.
Absolutely.
If someone made me choose one, I couldn't do it. That's like choosing between my children.
I guess we're just gonna talk about food because
Let's talk about food.
I actually made it's funny. I made like I've always been a fan of like Hell's Kitchen and Kitchen Nightmares, Gordon Ramsay, and
I love that stuff.
there's a clip online of him on MasterChef making scrambled eggs, and I did it like I put it in like in a whole pot, and I put the creme fraiche, and it was like the best scrambled eggs I've ever had,
Yeah.
and it didn't even seem like it was a big deal.
I'll tell you a secret. The secret to French toast.
Go for it. A little bit of what?
A little bit of saffron in the egg mixture.
Really?
You can use that one. Just a little bit, just for the aroma and the flavor.
Social media has really exploded with all the food aspects and like the food aspects to it too, Patrick? I mean, people are it's almost like it's been taken over by foodies, especially Instagram.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it's so much now, but when it first started, I used to call it Food and Sunset app, because that's all it was. It was food and sunsets.
I didn't think about the sunsets part of it. That's very true.
Yeah, I mean, I found some pretty good food out of that, though. You know, DK Donuts is one I follow on Instagram. Best donuts I've ever had. They're in Santa Monica. I've lost like 30 pounds by cutting that stuff down. I don't cut anything out.
I don't think you should cut it out because then like you binge eat, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I just sort of looked around and went, look at all these people that are, for lack of a better term, slim. They eat what I eat. And I went, oh, they just eat less of it. Oh. So, and I don't have fries when I go to McDonald's. Little things like that. But I can't deprive myself of anything.
No, absolutely.
I'm too undisciplined.
Do you have like an Nanaimo bar like once a week still though?
No, you can't get them down here. They're almost,
it's true.
Almost particular to the West. I had a hard time finding them in Toronto.
Yeah. Have they?
I do tell people how to say Toronto properly, though. I even give them the secret one, because they say Toronto, then they say Toronto, but there's that secret one where you're going to get a lot of credit when you hear that I really like. The Toronto.
Yeah, no, for sure. What also is there? Like you lived in you're from Vancouver, right?
Yes.
And are you have you also and you've lived in Toronto for like which city have you lived? Montreal. Do you kind
Toronto.
So you you are like that Canadian spokesperson in LA pretty much.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say Canadian sacrilege right here, but I prefer Toronto.
Really?
I know it's Canadian sacrilege, but I prefer Toronto because I like big, gritty Eastern cities. I'm a drinker and a smoker, not a hiker and a biker. I mean, Vancouver's my home and I like it, but I like cities like Toronto. I think Toronto's a very cool city and gets a bad rap from Vancouver and the rest of Canada.
No, I'm from Montreal. I live in Ottawa right now.
I love Montreal.
Yeah, I'm a big smoked meat fan, so.
Oh yeah. I went to theater school in Montreal. I lived there from '90 to '93, so I'm a Maine over the Schwartzes. And I prefer Fairmont Bagels over Maison de Bagel, but that's just me.
Fairmont's good. For me though, Ruben's Deli is always that's my spot in Montreal. I love that place. And they make a pretty mean poutine there too.
Well, I just like the Maine because the Maine was open late at night. But the first poutine of my favorite, I used to live right above a place called Chez Claudette's right across the street from the National Theater School.
Yeah.
And that place was the best. I ate poutine almost every day when I was there. They still have the best breakfast. I went back there. I was passing through. It was very weird. I went back there 25 years later. And the place hasn't changed. But that's where I got acquainted with poutine Italienne and beef haché and all that great stuff. So I love Montreal. I just, it's just not practical to live there as an English actor, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so enough talking. Like we can still talk about food, but I want to talk about you. I want to talk about your work. A lot of people are going to know you from Glee as Coach Ken Tanaka.
Yeah, that's a great gig.
And it's one of those things where Glee is one of the most watched shows of all time, and Fox, it's one of Fox's most prominent shows. And you had a pretty significant role on that show. You played Coach Ken Tanaka. How did you kind of? I mean, obviously there's an audition process, but how did that role come to be? And have you was that kind of one of your favorite roles you've ever kind of had a chance to play? Would you say?
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. I mean, it was my chance to kind of play something with a love interest. It was a very sensitive character. It was very different than the stuff I played. you just kind of audition for it. I had a pretty good audition on that. I took a big chance. We auditioned with that scene where I'm supposed to, lick the car handle and walk away. And I just walked out of the room, counted 5 seconds, and said, I got to get my bag again. I can't believe how long ago that was. We shot that Canadian Thanksgiving of 2008. That's when we shot the pilot. It was that long ago. But it was an amazing experience. The fanny pack was all me, though.
Absolutely.
Basically, I needed a place to keep my cigarettes and my food. And some girl I used to wear a fanny pack for real when I lived in Toronto because I used to bike everywhere.
Really?
I used to get a lot of flack from it. And some girl told me she'd never go out with me because I used to wear one for real. So I said, okay, I'm going to wear one on TV now.
Have you, is there like a behind the scenes moment or story or a fact that Gleeks would maybe like to hear on this episode of Pop Turner that you could share with us?
Let me think. Yeah, okay, I can tell you about when we did the costume and how tight the shirts were and how short the shorts were.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in for the costume fitting, and Lou, who was our costume designer, was a little bit like, geez, I don't know if he's going to like it. And she said, well, what do you think? And I went, well, Patrick, the person, hates this. But Patrick, the actor, says, this is great. Let's let the man boobs fly and shorten those shorts as much as we can.
No, that's interesting to hear. It's one of those shows, though. Like, I mean, what I find is happening right now, Patrick, is you have so much content out there, and Glee was one of those shows that when you thought of Fox, you thought of Glee. That was like that was the big show. Now that's not the case because Fox had New Girl, Fox has the Mick, Fox has a lot of other shows as well, right? The Gifted. There's so many. So do you think though that if a show, I was just curious, like if a show like Glee came out like today, or if Glee went back on air, do you think it would have the success now that it had when it first came out?
I mean, that's so hard to say because you could argue that a lot of what's going on now came out of the fact that show was so groundbreaking at the time. I mean, it's interesting to go watch things like go watch older movies and look at Pulp Fiction. That was groundbreaking at the time, and it influenced how a lot of movies were made after that. So it's hard to say how it would have done if it had come out later because it changed everything so much.
Do you think?
I'm sure it would still be successful.
Oh, I think so too. But do you think, because groundbreaking, do you think that Pitch Perfect would have been a thing if it wasn't for Glee?
Probably not.
Yeah, I look at it like that, like a trailblazer project.
Yeah, and the industry finds what is hot, and people are going to try to take advantage of it and hop on that train. That's just how it works. Not just in entertainment, but it works in music, and it works in media. It works, it works in blogs. Works in all kinds of things. So,
absolutely.
It's always that question of chicken and egg. Is media pushing the culture, and is culture pushing media? Who knows?
No, absolutely.
A little bit of both, probably.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Also, Night in the Museum is another series of movies that you were in, and you played Attila. What's really cool is I just found out you made up the language for your character.
Yeah, I'm the only person who worldwide has a pure performance. I never get dubbed because it's a fake language. So whenever you see me anywhere in the world, it's always my performance, which I really like, except for that one little joke about magic and sorcery, which they put into whatever language they're playing it in, and it never works. But yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun making that up. I was swearing at it. I was asking people where their Czechoslovakian grandmother was born and putting the city name in. I said Krispy Kreme once because I promised a friend I'd say Krispy Kreme. There is one story about that. There's one clear as day Indonesian swear word in Night in the Museum 1.
Really?
At the end, when I captured Dick Van Dyke and I go Jabok Larry, Jabok means wipe your ass in Indonesian. So I put one clear, because my family's from Indonesia. So in homage to my family, I said Jabok, which means wipe your ass, which is clear as day, wipe your ass.
I always love the scene where Ben Stiller's character is finally trying to get a hold of dealing with all these, like the museum and dealing with all the pieces of art and the statues that come to life, and he shows you guys how to do the magic, and you guys are like freaking out, and just your facial expressions are the best. You're just like, whoa.
Well, that was an interesting scene because when I went in there, they just one day, most of what you see was not in the script. Luckily, they liked what I was doing and just kept adding and adding and adding stuff. And I remember I was there and I'd done some stuff, and they said, well, we're going to do the magic scene with Ben. I said, well, what's in it? He goes, don't worry about it. We'll just figure it out as we go down there. And I'm thinking, I can't freaking improv with Ben Stiller. Are you crazy? And then that whole sorcery, magi thing and that little ear thing just came out of doing it. And that's, I think, when things turned. That's when they kind of said, okay, we have something here. You know that little ear thing I did? I don't even remember doing that. And that's how it's supposed to. When you can feel like that as an actor, it's great. Because I watched that going, I don't even remember doing that. I was just in the moment.
I think there was something about what you're talking about. I mean, that's definitely passion because you get into it. But it's one of those things where you mentioned in the beginning, you get paid to do these, like, create these funny characters and go on. Like, you get paid to tell stories. And I think that's...
Absolutely.
And it's pretty awesome. And
yeah.
It's
the only thing I'll wake up early for. Only thing I've never been late for is acting.
What about poutine? You'll wake up for a poutine. If I brought you a poutine from Montreal right now, you'd wake up like very early for that.
I would walk over glass for Chez Claudette poutine. I would.
There was
a little gruyere hot dog all dressed. I miss those too.
Yeah, what has been so far your what have you learned the most about being, because you've been doing this for a long time, but there's gonna be no shortage of learning experiences anytime you do a new role, whether it's just like a one episode thing, because you've been on iZombie quite a few times, like there's gonna be a moment where you're gonna learn things, right, every day. Has there been in the last kind of maybe 3 years, let's say a 3-year span, like has there been some things that you've learned from specific projects that kind of maybe helped you grow? Like, I understand you've been doing it for a long time, but you're never gonna not.
I don't know if I'd say anything specific, but I mean, over time, I still take class. One of my teachers, I think, said it really well. He said, athletes practice all the time. Our skill set is just as specific, and we should be practicing. Because the worst nightmare is to get a job you're getting paid for that you can't do. So you take class to try to work on things that are difficult for you. I think what I've learned over time is to just not let fear stop you.
Yeah.
Fear will kill you. I mean, I break it down to 5 basic things an actor's job is: show up on time, know your lines, hit your mark, don't let fear shut you down, and make sure somebody knows where you are at all times. And it's oversimplified, but that's sort of really the 5 things that an actor has to do. We have a job to do, and they're going to leave you alone. I think the thing you realize over time, especially in TV, is they're not going to tell you what to do. They're expecting you to come up with something. They can't direct nothing. So if you've done the audition, they've already hired you. It's your part. You do it the way you want to do it. You interpret it the way you can with as much truth as you can. And if they want you to do something else, you do. But there is no right or wrong way. I think that's the biggest thing I learned. There's no right way. There's nothing. What's the right way to do this? They're in auditions, they're trying to see. They're going, is this the person? Show me this character. Show me, the character of Alan or whatever the name is. And you give your interpretation of it, and that's what they're hiring.
No, absolutely. That's really good advice, too, to give to, up and coming. Because we do have some up and coming actors and actresses that watch the show, so that can be seen as some advice. I think
believe in yourself.
I think we'll wrap up because you might or might not have a birthday party to go to.
Yeah, I just turned 50 on Wednesday, and I'm just like, I caved to the pressure. I wanted to let it slide, but a lot of friends gave me pressure, so I'm having a little belated birthday thing tonight in about 45 minutes. So don't turn 50, man. It sucks. I hate it. I hate the way it sounds.
Yeah.
40 was bad.
I'm not going to tell.
I graduated high school in 1985.
Yeah.
It dawned on me that I am to people graduating now what the class of 1955 was to me. That's how old I am. Because when we were in 1985, the class of 55, those people are old. Well, somebody graduated in 2015. I'm that class of 1955 now.
I'm not going to bring up the fact that I feel old because I'm 26 then.
Oh, my God. I remember 26 like it was 24 years ago. You were literally born, what? The year I graduated National Theater School?
91.
Yeah, I moved to Montreal and went to National Theater School in 1990. I've known people, I have friends I've known for 39 years.
It's funny, though, the perceptions, because I feel like I'm getting old. Like, I turned 27 in May, and I feel like that's old.
I felt like that, too, dude, but you were so young, and you got so much time, and the 30s are great. The 30s are great. So
I-
just be young and make your mistakes and have fun and do stupid stuff now, because that's what you're supposed to do in your 20s. In your 30s, you can have a little bit of fun, but I loved being late 30s, even early 40s. I didn't mind, but 33 to 43, that's a great time.
Perfect. Well, I'm pumped for it. Thanks for you're making me excited about
and
that.
Drink while you can, because at some point I used to those big beers in Montreal.
Oh yeah.
When I was in theater school, I used to drink 10 of those a night. I used to bring a 2-4. I used to bring. Do you call them 2-4s in Ontario?
Yeah.
Or those are cases though, aren't they? 24 is a case. Is that? How
I don't think anyone in Ottawa is calling it a 2-4. I feel like it's
because in Vancouver it was a case and a 2-4, a 24 we call it 2-4. So I used to bring a case to a party for myself when I was 20 and drink them all and still be able to walk home. I'm almost dreading going to this now because I'll be done at like 5 beers.
Yeah. Well, where could people? So that's time to plug. Like, what are you allowed to tell us that you have coming up? Where could people follow you on social media? Plug
I'm
away.
on episode 15 of Lucifer this year. That was my most recent job. I have a couple episodes on the new show Siren, which comes out in the CW in March.
Mm-hmm.
I got a part in a movie that'll be out next year sometime called The Dog's Way Home with my friend Charlie Martin Smith directing it. And I think, if you want to watch Downsizing, you can see me be a drunk asshole in the Loose Moose. Which I was a drunk asshole in for real in 19.
You're in Downsizing?
Yeah.
I have a friend in. I have a few. There's a Natasha. I don't know her last name, but she plays one of the nurses. She's in it as well. So
yeah, they flew me all the way to Toronto and they put me in a Loose Moose to be a drunk asshole. I remember going to Alexander, I literally was this guy in this bar in 1997.
And you're just probably like, I'm perfect for this.
Yeah, it was easy. I'm like, the Loose Moose, I hated that place. I used to go to Popper's Pub in Toronto. That was my place. I think that's about it. I'm on at Patrick G-Man on Twitter, capital P, capital G. Mm-hmm. Don't put me on lists. I know how to get myself off quickly, and lists are childish. Unless they're good lists.
I don't know. I like the list. I can find things.
Yeah, but you get all these Trump trolls and Bernie trolls putting you on like shit for brains lists, and it's just childish.
Well, yeah, because
stupid.
because your tweets though.
It's easy to get off. By the way, if you're ever stuck on a list you don't want to be on, you go to that list, you find the subscribers, the guy who does it, you go to them, you block them and unblock them, and you're off the list. That's how you get off the list, just in case anybody's curious. So
you're full of life lessons and tricks today.
Well, the one thing about being a working actor, I'm going to tell this young actors, be careful what you wish for. I work 30 days a year. I have 335 days a year where I don't really have much to do. So I just Google shit trying to fill my days figuring out how to get off lists and figure out how to use phones.
Absolutely. Well, Patrick, thank you so much for coming on the show. And
my pleasure. It's nice to finally talk to you, and go Canada.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's say one more thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is to some of my friends in Vancouver, and this is to all Canadian hockey fans. When it comes to the Stanley Cup, we haven't had the Cup at home since 1993. I don't care if it's the Leafs or the Canadiens. If they're in the Stanley Cup final, you go for last Canadian team standing, or you're not a true Canadian. I had a friend who went for Boston over Toronto, and I said, dude, they beat us in the Stanley Cup 2 years ago. That's wrong. Last Canadian I would even go for the Leafs if it was them against Nashville or somebody. Cubs got to go home before it buys a gun.
For sure. No, we'll see what happens. Trade deadline tomorrow. It's gonna be. It's trade center tomorrow. It's a big day. It's a big day.
Oh yeah.
It's a big day.
We'll see what the Canucks do. We don't know whether the Sedins are staying or not, so that sort of messes them up for what they want to do. We just got to make enough money to keep Besser, because that dude's a genuine superstar.
No, he is, and I think they knew that when they drafted him. So I don't think there's any. And you got Elias Pettersson, you got John Vidal, and you got some great stars coming up. So I
don't think anybody figured he'd be what he's doing now.
But you know what sucks though is no one's talking about Elias Pettersson though. This guy is like a Swedish sniper that you guys have
and that's why we need to make up some, cap room. We need to keep the Sedins one more year, I believe. I think they're the greatest things to have to teach Horvat and be there as mentors. We can get rid of Gabranson. I don't think we need him. I think we should get rid of Edler too and free up the salary as long as we keep Tanev. But I think the future looks bright.
No, absolutely.
Of course, we always have messed up goaltending. That's just how the Canucks go.
Yeah, we got Mikey DiPietro waiting for his turn, and he's a very good
I'm gonna say
goaltender.
one more thing. Roberto Luongo was the most overrated goalie in NHL history. I call him Roberto Luong goals, and he lost us the Stanley Cup in 2011. You pay me $10 million, I will not let it. You don't let in 20 goals in 4 games, and you're getting paid $10 million. That's all I got to say. You can bring on the hate, Canucks fans, but I don't care. He lost us the Stanley Cup.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, no, I think we'll wrap up. Yeah, Patrick, thank you so much. I enjoy your passion, and the banter has been awesome, and we should do this again sometime.
Anytime, man, anytime.
For sure. Well, this has been Pop Alternative. Until next time, this is Patrick Gallagher and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Pop Alternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Pop Alternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Pop Alternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.